here, and okay, we are gonna do an episode today that I cannot even believe is gonna be controversial. Like, I, yeah. All right, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Do I tell you what we're talking about first, or do I tell you the story? I think I'm gonna tell you the story first. So, this is stuff that I've been talking about and teaching for years. What I'm gonna talk about today, and how important it is, and why it's important. And all of our, if you've ever gone to our website and gone to our marketplace, you'd see where it says DN swag, disruptive nutrition swag. And I've been so proud of some of the swag that we've put out over the years because it sends a message. We aren't just like about, hey, disruptive nutrition. We are sending a message. We are a movement to disrupt the diet industry. And it is so incredibly important to us because they've done us wrong. Well, let me show you one of the hats. Now, those of you that are listening to the podcast, I'm going to explain the hat. It hit me recently when I had a client that bought this hat. It says, I love me. And we don't have this hat anymore. And with all of our swag, we design it. We have a designer that we work with, and she's absolutely incredible. And she knows us and lives what we teach, and helps us to design unique messages to help share and spread the word about what we need to be doing for our bodies. Anyway, so this hat says, I love me. And I had a client once say to me that she bought it and she was really excited about it. And then when it came to actually wearing the hat, she got a little bit like, oh, I don't know, I feel a little funny. And she actually kind of like stressed out before she would put the hat on. And I thought, wow, why? She's like, I don't know. I don't want people to think that I'm like egotistical or like a narcissist or something. And I thought, whoa, that is really interesting. And it just stuck with me. And I continue to send my message about why we need to marry ourselves. I say this all the time. Whenever we have women that are talking to us about becoming clients, we always talk about the concept of loving ourselves too much to not show up for ourselves. And that we have to treat our relationship with our body just like we would treat our relationship with anybody else. Our relationship with other people that is strong, that grows, that thrives, is based on love and trust. Trusting comes from positive interactions consistently over time. And if you really think about love and trust, have you given that to your own body? Well, when I heard my client say that this hat made her pause before putting it on, I thought, that's really telling about how much we really do love and trust within ourselves. And that being said, if you work with us, you know my metaphors a lot around the marriage. It's like any strong marriage is not about being perfect, but it is being about consistent, right? Like if you aren't sure, if you're married and you're like, I'm not sure how my spouse is going to be when I get home, if they're going to be up or down or what I'm going to get. That level of inconsistency, when it comes to that relationship is not going to be sustainable for a long period of time. And you got to ask yourself, how consistent have you been with your own body? And if you're like most of us, you haven't been much. And that level of inconsistency wreaks havoc on any relationship, and it can only be sustained for so long. So this is what we teach. This is what we talk about all the time. But I've learned over the years that this can be uncomfortable. So then we had this hat, and this hat is still available because this one is sold out. The I Love Me, we don't have anymore. But this one we have, and it says, be you, do you, for you. And it's really interesting because I was wearing this hat out. And I don't even think twice about wearing these because I think it sends a really important message. And sometimes it lands on people and sometimes it's like, no. And so I was wearing this out once and somebody looked at it and goes, be you. So those of you that are just listening and not able to see this because we stream the video live in Diet Disruptor Squad, our Disruptive Nutrition Facebook page, and YouTube, but in our Disruptive Nutrition YouTube channel. But we also have it on our podcast, the Diet Disruptor Squad. So if you're listening to this on podcast, I'll explain to you what it says. There's a big U, and on the right-hand side, it says be, do, for. So the message is be you, do you, for you. I love it. So, so, so important. And some guy looks at me and goes, be you, do you, for you. Love yourself much? And I'm like, wait, what? Since when is showing love for ourselves a bad thing? Oh my gosh. And it was that moment that really hit me and said, okay, we need to do something about this. My clients all know that you are working on becoming your own best friend. You are working on a relationship with you and yourself that is a marriage that will last forever. We always talk about the 3 pillars: mind, body, and sustainability. We have to learn what we have to do with our body. No doubt we have to. And very often, most of us don't know. But that's actually the easy part, teaching us what we need to do with the body. But then we got to get our mind right, right? Like we got to deal with all of our personality, our triggers, why we seem to self-sabotage on a regular basis. And then nobody's ever taught us really how to do something forever. Let's be honest. So how to show up for ourselves forever, how to be married to ourselves and cultivate that marriage, that takes a whole nother skill set. And how to be flexible and adaptable and deal with the chaos that life throws at us. So in order to be able to do that, first of all, our clients, once they say yes or I do to themselves, then they go through what I call a 3-month honeymoon, where they're really digging into the foundational understandings of themselves through their mind, their body, and sustainability skills. And then after that, because all of our members, I mean, my whole thing is lifetime membership is so important. I want women to feel like they are supported with us when they are 40 and 50 and 60, because our lives are always going to change. And you shouldn't have to pay to be in a membership, because at some point you're going to be like, I'm not really engaging. I'm not going to do this anymore. So then you cancel and then you fall off and then you go look for the next thing. I don't let women do that. You got to be with me for a lifetime. But when you're in that membership, when you're in that cultivation stage of your marriage, we do a whole lot of things to continue to cultivate it. And one of the things we do are book studies. And so we are kicking off a book study in our membership group that I am so excited about. And you are going to see and learn from us over the next few months that we are doing this book study over in the membership group. And so and in fact, every single member, this is what you're going to be seeing. If you can see the video right now, you see I've got pink heart-shaped glasses on. And every one of our members that said, I want to do the book study with you, we sent them a little swag box of rose-colored heart-shaped glasses along with some stickers and some other things. And they are going to be posting throughout the next few months what they are learning through this book study. And let me share with you exactly why we are doing this book study, what it is, and a little tidbit as to what these glasses are all about. So the book study is called Madly in Love with Me, the daring adventure of becoming your own best friend. And while this is something we talk about all the time, as our members are cultivating their own marriage within body, mind, sustainability, we're always digging in deeper and helping them get to the next level. We have guest coaches every month. I do a live coaching call with them every month, and it's always around mind, body, or sustainability. And then we do a couple book studies every year that dig deeper into mind, body, and sustainability. So this is going to be a great one on mindset, right? And so I'm just going to read to you the beginning of this. It's by Christine Arlo, and she says this: welcome to a world of love. Come on in, take a seat, and put your love glasses on. Rose-colored, heart-shaped, or studded with diamonds, it doesn't matter. We couldn't afford to send everybody diamond ones, but we just sent them these fun heart-shaped ones. If you want to get some heart-shaped ones, go on Amazon and grab them and join us as you hear what we learn throughout the next few months. But we know 2 things for sure. In the land of self-love, no one but you is wearing these particular glasses. They are uniquely yours. And what you are about to see isn't a fairy tale or science fiction tale. It's what becomes possible when you dare to choose self-love. And so I wanted to do an episode today with my rose-colored glasses on because you're going to be seeing us over the next few months share what we're learning. And so we're hoping that this is going to be inspirational for you, motivational for you, and help you to see things a little differently. So when I put on these rose-colored glasses, it's not like I see everything completely different. It's just that I have a little tint. I can still see the same world in front of me with a different color tinge to it. And that's around our perspective. So one of the things that I want to ask you is really, up until this point, have you felt like you've loved yourself so much that you want to show up for it? Or that you've hated your body so much that you're finally maybe doing something because you're so frustrated with it? Well, that's not the way that I want you to go. I want you to show up because you love yourself so much. Christine writes in this book to imagine a world where every girl born not is only does not just born in love with, but stays in love with herself. That we don't hear we are not enough. That we grow up believing, regardless of our accomplishments, our body shape, our love life status, or our material possessions, that we are more than enough because we are ourselves. The thought that our unique souls could be measured against and compared to that of another person or an outside ideal would never occur to somebody filled with self-love. I always say that comparison is the thief of all joy. And that's a big problem that we have today. We keep comparing ourselves to others, and that steals our joy because that comparison tells us we're not enough. And that's why we have this hat too. For those of you that can see it, it says know your value. This hat is sold out as well, so you can't get this one. The Be Do You For You hat is available, so that is a fun one to be able to get. But the reason why we designed the Know Your Value hat was because so many of us define our value by that number on the scale, as if that is what our worth is. And we are here for a purpose. Each one of us separately and uniquely is here for a reason, not to look or be like someone else, but to be the best version of ourselves. And the size you are does not dictate your value at all. However, the health that you are in will dictate your ability to actually do the thing that you were put on this earth to do. Now, self-love is hard. And it's hard to wrap our head around it not being selfish, especially when you have people that stop you like I did and looked at me and said, love yourself much? Like it was a bad thing. And why is that? I mean, let's think about something. Why is it that every airline in any part of the world, regardless of their religion, their language, their cultures, their belief, their politics, every single airline that you get on, one of the very first things they say is put your oxygen, in the event of an emergency, you're going to put your oxygen mask on before you put on someone else's. We actually have a t-shirt that says that as well. That is almost out completely. I think those are massively on sale because we only have a few left. Why is it that they say that? Is it so that the message is fend for yourself? Take care of yourself? Screw everybody else? No. The message is that once you put on your oxygen mask on, you can save others. But if you try to put on others' oxygen masks first, you're gonna die and you're not gonna save as many people as you could. There are not very many things, in fact, like none, that we universally agree on except that. So why is it that when we think about taking care of ourselves first, focusing on loving ourselves enough to show up for ourselves, not comparing ourselves, thanking our body for what it's done for us. Why is that considered wrong? Why is it that my client felt like wearing the I love me hat was a little scary? It's because our culture has said that self-love, self-care is selfish. And in fact, if you look up the term self-care, it first says loving oneself, which is like defining a word with the actual word, and that's not really a definition. But then you will see it goes on to also define it as narcissism or conceit. So if we think about how our culture almost automatically defines self-love as something like narcissism and conceit, well, then no wonder we don't want to practice it. We also think about that kind of stuff like self-care as extra, as pampering, as not necessary, but kind of a nice frivolous type of a thing. And it's kind of crazy when we think of it like that. Now, I wonder why and how we've gotten to this place where we feel like loving ourselves is just impossible. Loving ourselves is, we are now in a generation, we've been in this generation where we think it's selfish to show up for ourselves before showing up for others. Now, will there be times that you need to show up for others before yourself? Of course there will be. But again, remember, a relationship is around positive interactions consistently over time. It's not about being perfect. It's not about one time here or one time there. It's about a consistent message that you're sending to yourself and to your body. And here's what I know. Women today, especially, first of all, we are unhealthier than we've ever been. 75% of people are either insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, or diabetic. That's a math equation. 9 out of 10 people are dying right now from a metabolic disease. That's a math equation. And all of those things are stimulated or initiated from a dysregulated blood sugar. And 85% of women have disordered eating and a disordered relationship with their body or food. That's a problem. In a world of self-love, like she says in here, that if we had each had a sense of love for ourselves that started when we were a little girl, that didn't dissipate as we got older, we would grow up believing that we were enough. We were more than enough. But we don't. And we work so hard to try to be like somebody else. A version of ourselves that we don't like exists in us, and we hate that. And we can't function in that way. Where did all this come from? Why do we feel like we are not enough? Well, when you fail at something enough, you start to believe that you're not enough. And we know that from people that have been abused, hearing time and time again that you are no good. Verbal abuse, physical abuse. Somebody once said that if you hear something long enough, you'll tend to believe it. And that's totally true. So what about the majority of women who maybe haven't been abused per se? Why are we still in this place of self-loathing versus self-love? Well, I very much believe that our diet industry, our culture around what women are supposed to look like, and let's not blame social media completely for this, because we all grew up in what, the 80s, 90s, 70s? We didn't have social media then. But the message was very clear in magazines and television commercials. Pinch an inch, remember that? It told us something. And so we went on diets. And there is a reason why Big Pharma, the food industry, and the diet industry are multi-billion-dollar industries. Why? Because they are out for money, and they have made it very, very easy for us to pay them. And here's the diet industry's super amazing marketing technique. They have made you feel like a failure for so long that you have no confidence in yourself anymore, and you just keep believing what they throw at you. It doesn't matter. I mean, let's be honest. In the 90s, it was Atkins, and now it's keto. We just keep refurbishing. It used to be fen-phen. Now it's Ozempic. It just keeps going around, and we keep believing it. Why? Because we don't love ourselves enough. We hate ourselves into solutions that are quick fixes. If we loved ourselves, we would show up very differently. Let's think about what happened. Let's take a little journey down history lane and why the diet industry has actually broken us throughout the years. I mean, I want you to ask yourself, how long have you been dieting? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years for some of you? It's not far-fetched. So when you start off dieting, and we're dieting, let's be honest, in our 20s, not because we're trying to be healthy, because, we're trying to look a certain way. And the diet industry has made it such that, okay, we take in less food, and all of them in the same way, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, whatever it is, they have us believing that we have to take in less than we burn. We have to put our body at a deficit. I mean, I always say, what thrives in a deficit? Nothing. But they have absolutely bamboozled us into believing that that's what has to happen. So we keep depriving ourselves. We keep giving things up. And when we're younger, we can do that. And yeah, we're going to lose a little bit of weight. We're not losing visceral fat. We're losing fat that's actually nutrient dense that our body needs. But whatever, we have a high metabolism. We have a low set point. So we're losing a little bit of weight. Oh my gosh, the diet's quote unquote working. But what's happening behind the scenes is what you're not realizing, because we just look at weight loss as the test of whether or not something's working. But what we're not seeing behind the scenes is a deprived body is never going to thrive for the long term. Remember that whole yo-yo inconsistent relationship with a spouse that doesn't last? Well, that's what happens here. So yeah, maybe that diet quote unquote worked for a little while, but it's throwing off everything, including your blood sugar stabilization. So when your blood sugar is rocked because you're all up and down, you're not eating to balance your blood sugar, you're counting calories, not taking into account macronutrients, thinking about your food for the day versus not, knowing that when you ate all your calories, your points for the day, you might as well just go off the deep end, because what does that matter? Just going on this crazy blood sugar roller coaster, and you don't even realize it, but what that's doing is wreaking havoc on your body, and your body then is starting to have all sorts of cravings and is completely trying to regulate itself, and it can't do that for very long. So you feel like you've given in to your lack of willpower, and you've had sugar, or you've had a cheat meal, or you've gone off plan, and bam, you've fallen off the wagon, and then you don't know how to get back on, and you're just off. Also, every single one of those diets has made it so that it's impossible to do when you are living an actual life. Sure, when you're living this little routine, I'm not going anywhere, doing anything life, it's easy to do the points or the calories and all that. But throw in a vacation, throw in COVID, throw in a wedding, throw in chaos at work, throw in, oh, your kid's practice went late and you now have to go get takeout. None of those things allows for that. So then you fall off and you believe it was your fault. So not only does life not allow you to actually be able to have these kinds of diets, but the beauty of them, the genius of them, is they made it seem like it was working because you lost a little bit of weight, but you screwed it up. Your willpower, your lack of consistency, your lack of ability to adapt. I mean, you didn't have the perfect life. You should have dealt with that. And so then you feel like a failure. And if you've been doing this for decades, little bits and pieces, it's like little drops of water that go into a cup. And at first it's like, okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. But then it just keeps adding up until the cup overflows and you have lost all sense of love for yourself. You feel like a failure. You can't trust yourself. You self-sabotage and you have no idea why. And yet, the diet industry has you believing that if you just keep trying again and going with this newfangled thing, you're gonna actually be successful. Oh, and if you're not, okay, no problem. We have a drug for that. So now, you know what? You failed at everything, and that's what people who have keep doing, like with Ozempic or Wegovy or any of those. They're like, it's just because I've tried everything and nothing's worked. No, they worked exactly the way they were designed to work. This is the next step in their design. You just keep giving them the ammunition and it's working. It's all about money and tearing you down at the same time. But we don't respect the idea of self-love. Sure, we understand the idea of oxygen mask, but we don't understand self-love because we look at it as negative. We look at it as narcissistic. And how could you possibly love yourself if you're overweight? Well, that is exactly what the diet industry has tried to get us to do. They're killing us. If you have dieted your way to obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, then it's time to understand that how you look at yourself is a direct result of them failing you, not you failing yourself. And it's time to put your rose-colored glasses back on and say, just like you, when you were a baby, when you were a little girl, a toddler, you loved yourself in a way that was adorable and precious. And we got to get you back to that. But for some reason, when we put self in front of certain words that are really powerful and positive, we look at it as negative and selfish. So I want you to, in this book, she has a self-love tree and she has a few branches on the tree. And she talks about this. How is it that when we say love, yes, we have to love others. We have to show love. Self-love, selfish. How about the word care? Of course we have to give and care for others. Self-care? Awareness. Okay, awareness is really important. We have to be aware. Be aware. Get your head out of your phone. Be aware. Self-awareness? That's scary. Because then you got to come to grips with your own self. What about acceptance? Accepting others. We hear that all the time. But self-acceptance? Not for me. No, no, no. Trust. Trust is the core of any relationship. But so many of you do not have self-trust. I hear this all the time. I don't trust myself. Some women are afraid to work with us because we keep telling them, this is it. This is the last nutritional advice you'll ever need. We will not let women fail. And they say, I believe that you won't let me fail, but I don't believe that I won't let myself fail because I failed at everything before. Isn't that crazy? The diet industry has stripped your ability to trust your own self. Esteem. Esteem is great, but self-esteem, it's all low, right? Nobody walks around and says, I have high self-esteem. It's usually, I have really low self-esteem. We associate self-esteem with something that is low. Compassion and forgiveness. Compassion and forgiveness is a trait that we should have for everyone, right? But self-compassion and self-forgiveness doesn't exist easily. And what about respect? The word respect is such a powerful word, but let's put self in front of it. Self-respect, not much of it. And it's because our why is not strong. Very often we just keep thinking about weight loss and then we fail, and we're so used to failing and we don't even recognize the possibility of success or what it could look like. I mean, I want you to think about the fact that if your life stopped right now, would you feel that you fulfilled your purpose? Probably not. So now is the time to draw your line in the sand and to say, I am not going to keep doing this the same way. But you cannot do anything different to improve the relationship with you and your body if you don't come at it from a point of love. Just like any other relationship, you cannot improve a relationship with anybody else if you hate that person. And so for you, the first step towards actually reaching your goals is to love yourself, to do this because you love yourself too much, that you know that you have a purpose on this earth, and to serve that purpose, you actually have to improve the relationship with yourself. And everything that is broken about that relationship, if you have been a chronic dieter, that is part of the problem. It has little by little stripped you of confidence and of security and of understanding that you actually are deserving, because you have been made to believe that you kept failing after all these years, that it was not the diet. That's the beautiful marketing ploy that they've initiated for decades with you. And it's time to stop. And so I'm sharing this with you today because our members are going to pay it forward as they learn how to put their own oxygen masks on with their rose-colored glasses that we sent to them because they signed up for the book study. And when they signed up, we sent them from our office, everybody, rose-colored, heart-shaped glasses. And we told them that as they are learning over the next few months with this book, that they are going to share in the Diet Disruptor Squad Facebook group. So if you are not a member, make sure you go into the Diet Disruptor Squad Facebook group and go listen in. Take the lessons from what your fellow squad members teach, because that is going to be so powerful. And I'm super excited because I want you to be thinking about one thing you can do to take a step forward to show love to yourself. It might be to join the Facebook group, to subscribe to the podcast, to go and grab my free training that digs into blood sugar stabilization, why exactly diets fail, what we need to be doing instead. You can get that by going to disruptivenutrition.com/training. Get on our books to talk to a coach. Send us a message. Get some swag. I know we don't have all the swag, and I know that can be frustrating for some people, but it's because we just don't republish the other stuff, but we're always coming up with new stuff. And in fact, check this out. We have in our shop now, and right now it's on pre-sale, so hopefully it's going to be in a few days that we're going to be able to send the Love Yourself t-shirt. Those of you that can't see this, we'll put a link in the notes so that you can go grab this. Check this out. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself enough to show up. We love this shirt. We love the message it sends. Our swag is about messaging and about it. Maybe you need it for yourself, or you need to put it on to be able to send that message to others. It's a Navy shirt, and I love it because it goes along with the Navy Be You, Do You, For You hat. And I feel like, oh my goodness, if you wore the Navy hat with the Navy shirt, you would be sending a message not just to yourself, but to others as well. So it's a pre-order. We have very limited editions. We never put in that much to our store. So you got to go and check it out and go get your pre-order for that. Take one step towards self-love, because as much as you think you want to just lose weight, what you really want is to be on this adventurous journey of becoming your own best friend, because best friends show up for each other. Best friends don't break promises to each other. Best friends are trustworthy, and best friends die old best friends later in life. And I don't want you to be like 9 out of 10 people dying out of metabolic disease right now, like 50% of people on diets, but yet diabetic. 75% of people either insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, or diabetic. That is a math equation to an early death. We cannot have that happen. And a weight loss drug or a newfangled diet is not designed to actually heal you so that you can die younger later, but it is meant to take your money until the next thing comes, and then your body is done. Your relationship with your body relies on trust and consistency over time, and weight loss drugs and diets will never give it back. So just like a marriage, it can only handle so long an untrusting relationship. Your body will only be able to hold on for so long as well. And I know for me, I want to be able to live well into my hundreds with a quality of life that is serving others, that is not relying on my kids to take care of me, that allows me to still stand up if I fall down without help. But you cannot get there if you don't love yourself first. So, what is this saying to you? What are you going to do to love yourself and recognize that self love is not negative? Self-love is not narcissism. In fact, if you know a narcissist, and I've known a few in my life, it is because they don't love themselves enough. Narcissists need actual self-love. So what are you going to do to put your own oxygen mask on first? Because you will never be able to survive if you start putting on other people's oxygen masks before your own. And the worst part is you won't survive to be able to support others for a long time. So tell me what you're getting from this. Are you excited about learning what our clients are going to learn in the Facebook group? If you, again, are listening to this outside of our Facebook group, please go in and join now. Subscribe to our podcast and be a part of this mission. Either get your swag, send the message that you need to send to be able to make sure that you remember you are enough. You are more than enough. You've always been enough. Now you just have to look at your own body and your own life through rose-colored glasses. It's just a different perspective, and you can do it and thrive. All right. Love you guys.